All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The New York Jets looked like a football team for about 5 minutes for this NFL season as their Super Bowl aspirations quickly evaporated due to the bum Achilles of quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And the reason why the Jets were banking on Rodgers this season was that they wasted the second overall pick of the 2021 draft on quarterback Zach Wilson. In 24 NFL starts, Wilson's record is just 8 and 16 with a completion percentage just under 55% with 17 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. Wilson once again brought out the Boo Birds at MetLife Stadium this past Sunday as his 18 of 36 outing with just 157 passing yards with 0 touchdowns and 3 sacks, which one of those sacks resulted in a safety for the Patriots, helped the Patriots collect their first win of the season as New York lost 15-10. Now, there isn't much to say about Zach Wilson that I have not already said. And I just put it in the chat box for anybody who wants to check it out. This is what I said about Zach Wilson last year. But the thing is, I'm just surprised that people are still surprised that Zach Wilson is not an NFL caliber starting quarterback. I said that after the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars last December at home, that Zach Wilson should never play for the New York Jets again. I really felt that the Jets missed the opportunity. I don't know if it was much of an opportunity, but they still weren't proactive, at least as far as going out there and attempting to trade Zach Wilson over the offseason. I know that he was the second overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. I know at this point that if you were to trade Zach Wilson, whatever you get back is not going to come close to the draft compensation that you gave up to get him in the first place. However, with that said, I said it then, he should no longer be on this roster. And for the Jets, they put all of their chips behind Aaron Rodgers, and there was no plan B. Now, don't get me wrong, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, expected what happened to Aaron Rodgers in week number one to happen. Okay, but the Jets had no backup plan whatsoever. Even if the Jets obviously had still gone out there and gotten Aaron Rodgers, but if they had gone out there and maybe moved on from Zach Wilson and brought somebody else in, whether it was a veteran quarterback, whether it was a young quarterback, whether it was an unknown to be the backup, I still think the Jets would have been in a better spot than they are right now. Like I said last year, this team does not believe in Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is not a leader of men. You go back to last year when Robert Sala, inserted Mike White into the lineup for the Jets. The Jets did play better. Why? Because Mike White was one of the guys. Mike White gave the Jets hope. And what is Mike White doing now? Well, he's throwing garbage time touchdowns for the Miami Dolphins to Robbie Chosen, formerly Robbie Anderson, another former New York Jet player. But you look at him, the players don't believe in Zach Wilson. And when he's out there, Zach Wilson is just a deer in the headlights. And I know, don't get me wrong, what we saw this past Sunday, rather, when the Jets lost to the Pats. Bill Belichick, the veteran and head coach that he is and a future Hall of Famer, he's one of the best to have ever done it from the defensive standpoint as far as cooking up a game plan to confuse young quarterbacks. Now, to Zach Wilson's credit, his first two starts this season against that Dallas defense that tore it like that, this has been tearing it up. And I'm going to touch on that in a moment. And then, of course, his Patriots defense. But you really lost some of that benefit of the doubt, if you will, for that Dallas defense after They just went out there and let the Arizona Cardinals and Josh Dobbs do whatever they wanted to them as the Cowboys lost on Sunday. So at the end of the day, you still got to put some of that on Zach Wilson. I can't really give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I mean, the thing is, how many times, and it's not just a Patriot game, the last couple of years, how many times do we have to see Zach Wilson miss an open receiver? How many times do we have to see a receiver run the right route and Zach Wilson not throw him the ball? Just like I said last year, Zach Wilson struggles with completing screen passes. And as a starting quarterback in the NFL, if you can't complete a screen pass, there's really not much to say for you. I mean, at this point, Zach Wilson rather, is getting to that territory if he's not already of Jamarcus Russell. Hence why I said Zach Russell. But nonetheless, and when you think about some of the worst draft picks ever, especially at that number 2 pick at quarterback. We had Jamarcus Russell with the Raiders, and then of course Ryan Leaf with the San Diego Chargers. And I think Zach Wilson is spiraling in that direction if he's not there already. And like I said, the Jets committed so much in bringing in Rodgers, and now their options at quarterback are limited at best. But at this point, the Jets may not have any other choice but to bring in someone off the street to play quarterback. And I say that because I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt when the Rodgers injury happened, because obviously it was bad. But the thing was, all right, you didn't have anybody else in there for the training camp. So how do you expect somebody to come in off the street? Didn't have a training camp, didn't have any type of timing with the receivers, any verbiage with the offense, whatever you want to come at it with. But the thing is, if you're Robert Saleh as the head coach of the Jets and your general manager Joe Douglas and team owner Woody Johnson, if you keep putting Zach Wilson out there, how are you going to be able to convince the players, the fans, and the media that this key team can win with Zach Wilson at quarterback? I know Aaron Rodgers is throwing it out there like, we can get to the playoffs or something like that. I can try to come back. That right there is, I'm not even going to categorize that as a long shot. That's a long shot's a long shot. But nonetheless, how do you expect to get there? I mean, this is a Jets organization. They ain't been to the playoffs since 2010. They've only had one winning record since then. They got a lot of double-digit losing seasons to their record. And at the end of the day, how do you expect things to get better with Zach Wilson, a quarterback? I talked about this with a very good friend of mine. I'm giving him a shout out right here. Not going to blow up his name like that, but he knows who he is. But nonetheless, when the Aaron Rodgers injury happened, we basically said, listen, the Jets need to go out there and play some buck ball. And if you remember the Tampa Bay Bucks under Tony Dungy, that's basically what they had to do. They had to go out there and win ugly. The only way the Jets have an opportunity to win right now, their defense has to score a touchdown a game, and their special teams has to score a touchdown a game. And just maybe Zach Wilson can get you 10 points. But the way that he's playing, I'm not even sure if he can consistently get you those 10 points. So my point is this: the Jets are screwed. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you got to go out there and try to bring somebody off the street. And that right there is a long shot. But even that long shot is better than the long shot that you have with the guy that you invested the second overall pick on at quarterback. Just like I said last year, how can the Jets mess this up in less than 5 years twice? They did it with Sam Darnold back in 2018. And of course, once Sam Darnold left the Jets, he showed some semblance of order of being a quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, Zach Wilson could do the same if he were to leave the Jets. But I mean, it hasn't been a pretty thing for them with the quarterback picture as far as drafting guys. Mark Sanchez got him to the AFC Championship game his first 2 years there, but a lot of that was based off of the fact that the Jets could run the football and they also had a solid defense. And of course, once those things wavered, we saw what Mark Sanchez became with the Jets. Geno Smith. Then Sam Darnold, and now, of course, Zach Wilson. But of course, Zach Wilson might be in his own category as far as guys who have not been able to get it done at quarterback for the Jets. At this point, no disrespect to Robert Saleh. I think he's a very likable guy, and I think his defense and his team will go to bat for him. But at the end of the day, he's trying to sell these guys a bill of goods. And at this point, all Robert Saleh is the captain of the Titanic, telling everyone that everything is okay around them when they can clearly see it's not. And it's to the point right now that the band has stopped playing and they're looking for lifeboats. This is where we're at with the New York Jets. It's unfortunate because this team went from being a Super Bowl contender to an afterthought just like that. And honestly, the Jets right now might be in a worse spot than they were at the end of the 2022 season because at least there was some hope that they were going to try to improve things. But honestly, you can make the case right now that Zach Wilson has actually gotten worse from the end of last season to now. And I didn't think that was possible, but he has. I said it then, and I'll continue to say it. The Jets should have moved on from Zach Wilson last year. They still need to move on from Zach Wilson. And honestly, as the more they keep him out there, whatever kind of trade value that he could possibly have, which is slim to none at this point, but nonetheless, it's going to get worse. I mean, I know that some people are going to say, well, Zach Wilson's done in the NFL. There's always going to be a team or a coach or a general manager that can say, hey, I can fix this kid. Chelsea, Chelsea Green Kitty Cat, how you doing? You're saying the Titanic comparison is spot on. Thanks. I thought about it, and it's unfortunate because I really feel for Jets fans because you go back to week number one, you go back to the summer, you go back to right after the draft. There was an excitement because, and I said it, Aaron Rodgers probably gave them their best option at quarterback since Joe Namath. And Joe Namath hasn't played for the Jets in close to 50 years. All right. And the thing is, it's like all of that was just taken away. It's kind of like, Lucy putting the football out there for Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown runs to kick it. And as soon as he goes to kick it, she takes it away. And that's what happened with Jets fans because you go back to that week one game on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. I have never heard MetLife Stadium in an uproar like that. And of course, since MetLife Stadium opened in 2010, Jets and Giants fans have not had a lot to cheer for. They had plenty to cheer for, and it was gone in the New York Minute. Granted, I know that the team plays in Jersey, but nonetheless, this is where the Jets are right now. And you look at it, um, you look at this team right now, it's going to go from bad to worse because they got to take on the Kansas City Chiefs at home on Sunday night. And obviously, it's too early in the season for NBC to flex out, that Sunday night game. And I could understand why they put Jets Chiefs in this slot because you figured you got Mahomes going up against Rodgers, could potentially be a playoff preview here. Obviously, that's not the case. And I'm not sure how many Jet fans are going to show up for this game. I'm not sure how many optimistic Jet fans are going to show up for this game. And not to mention, because we know what Patrick Mahomes can do on that side of the ball for Kansas City. Steve Spagnuolo is in a rhythm right now with this Kansas City Chiefs defense. And if you think he's going to take it easy on the young and confused and starry eyed and glossy eyed Zach Wilson, well, you know what? You got another thing coming. And I guarantee you, primetime game, everybody's watching. If Zach Wilson has another stinker, the New York media is going to run with it. And Robert Saleh might not have a choice but to go in a different direction. I mean, at this point, the Jets, right after that, they've got Denver on the road in week number 5. Somebody's got to win that game. Just like Denver's playing the Bears on Sunday. Somebody's got to win. So maybe, just maybe, that's an opportunity for the Jets to get a dub right there. They did go to Denver last year and win. So there is some optimism there. You got the feeling that A-Rod want to bring to New York what Tom Brady brought to Tampa. I kind of had that feel to it. I think that's why Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to the Jets. He sat back obviously and saw what Brady did, and then you saw the team that the Jets had last year. And we all said it. Listen, if the Jets got themselves a competent quarterback, they could have been a playoff team last year. Okay, and with the way that they play D, their D travels in the postseason, and that was a big thing about the Jets this year because, like, you know what, you finally got an adult in the room, if you will, a quarterback for them, and you knew what their defense could do. I guarantee you, their defense would be much better than they're probably going to be at the end of the year because if Aaron Rodgers was there, they wouldn't have been worn out as much. Obviously, but honestly, even with that said, the Jets still have issues on the offensive line, but nonetheless, I think Aaron Rodgers is still good enough as a quarterback to overcome some of those issues. he would have given that defense hope. That defense would have gone out there and been flying around, and they would have said, you know what? Listen, even if we give up 27 points in a game, we got a guy over there who can score 28. Now, if they give up 20 points in the game, they don't have a guy who could score 21. And honestly, even if they only give up 13, they don't have a guy on that sideline playing quarterback right now who can score 14. This is the state of the Jets, if you will. This is where this team is. This is where this organization, franchise, whatever you want to slice it down to, this is where they're at. And for Zach Wilson, like I said before, the Jets just need to cut bait and go in a different direction. I'm not sure what they can do right now. It's just like the Bermuda Triangle as far as futility goes. The Jets just can't get out of their way. Zach Wilson can't get out of his own way either. And this is just simply a hopeless situation going on in Florham Park. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Chelsea Grin, as always, appreciate the comments. I definitely appreciate the support. And you could keep checking me out because there is a plethora of things to talk about for this NFL season. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but I definitely appreciate the support. And once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.